Ready to shift gears and explore a career path that's anything but ordinary.
Let's hit the gas on this deep dive.
We're talking about the world of motor vehicles specialized selling, and thanks to some fascinating material from RoleCatcher, we're going to break down what it really takes to succeed in this niche market.
It's not your typical sales gig. RoleCatcher really dives into the unique skills and personality traits that set top sellers apart.
And let me tell you, it's not just about having a charming smile and knowing the difference between a coupe and a convertible.
Definitely not. This is about high-end, often specialized vehicles. We're talking about clients who are passionate, knowledgeable, and looking for more than just a set of wheels.
So imagine this. You walk into a showroom, but it's not rows of the latest mass market models. This is a showroom filled with rare finds, vintage classics, maybe even a supercar or two.
Exactly. It's a different world, catering to a specific clientele. These customers are looking for an experience, a connection with someone who shares their enthusiasm. Someone who understands that this isn't just a car, it's an investment, a statement, maybe even a lifelong dream.
And that's where the motor vehicles specialized seller comes in. But RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it. They make it clear that this job comes with its own set of challenges. We're talking long hours, a high-pressure environment to meet sales goals, and, let's be honest, the inevitable encounter with a difficult customer.
They actually share some pretty insightful stories from real-world sellers about handling those tricky situations. It takes a certain personality type to thrive in this world. Resilience is key.
They highlight one story about a top seller who actually started in the service department. And get this, his mechanical knowledge became his secret weapon.
Customers were blown away by his expertise. They weren't just buying a car, they were buying his deep understanding of how it all worked, the history behind it.
Mechanical knowledge. I have to admit, that's not what I would have pictured as a top skill for sales role. I associate sales with charisma, product knowledge, maybe some closing techniques.
It's fascinating, right? But RoleCatcher breaks it down when you're dealing with specialized vehicles, particularly vintage or rare models. Customers come armed with questions, and not just about the sound system or the leather seats.
They want to know what's under the hood, so to speak.
Exactly. They're interested in engine specs, restoration processes, maybe even the history behind certain design features.
So you could go from grease monkey to sales guru. That's a pretty cool career trajectory.
It is, and it highlights how valuable that deep understanding of mechanics can be in this niche market.
But it's not all about knowing your way around a carburetor, right?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher also emphasizes the need to be tech savvy.
Absolutely. Today's car buyer is arriving at the dealership already armed with information. They've done their online research, they've read reviews, they might even have a few alternative models in mind.
They're coming in prepared.
Exactly. So you need to be able to navigate that world. You need to be able to explain the value proposition of your product, and you need to be able to demystify some of the technology that's become standard in these high-end vehicles.
Speaking of which, RoleCatcher mentions infotainment systems a few times. I'll be honest, I'm not even entirely sure what that entails.
Sure. So essentially, it refers to the integrated technology within the vehicle, like navigation, entertainment, communication systems, all those digital bells and whistles. Think touchscreens, voice commands, Bluetooth connectivity. It's how all those systems interact to enhance the driving experience. And it's a major selling point for a lot of these specialized vehicles.
So not only do you need to know the car inside and out mechanically, you also need to be a bit of a tech whiz.
It's a lot to juggle, especially when you add in the pressure to meet sales targets. But RoleCatcher is very clear. Earning potential is a big motivator in this field.
Wait, because a lot of these positions are commission-based, right? Meaning the more you sell, the more you earn.
Exactly. It's a high-risk, high-reward scenario that appeals to a certain personality type. But let's be honest, the big question on everyone's mind is, beyond the cars and the tech, what does it really take to be successful as a motor vehicle specialized seller?
What are those key skills and traits that set the top performers apart?
Well, RoleCatcher identifies a surprising skill as absolutely crucial, and it's not what you might expect.
Okay, so we've got the tech, the pressure, the need for some serious car knowledge. But RoleCatcher throws a curveball when they reveal the top key skill for a motor vehicle specialized seller. Ready for this? Active listening.
It's funny, isn't it? You think sales, you think smooth talker. Right.
Exactly. Someone who can talk their way into or out of just about anything.
But RoleCatcher, they actually debunk that myth pretty effectively. They share this great anecdote about a seller who closed a huge deal, And it wasn't by pushing the priciest car on the lot.
Oh, tell me more about this. I love a good sales story.
So this seller really took the time to listen to the client, who, as it turned out, was a collector with very, very specific requirements. And apparently, this seller was the only one who really took the time to understand those needs, to ask the right questions.
Instead of just launching into a sales pitch, they actually listened.
Exactly. And that's what sealed the deal.
See, that's what I love about these deep dives. You uncover these golden nuggets that you wouldn't expect. Makes sense, though, right? We're not talking about impulse buys here. People are buying their dream cars.
Absolutely. It's about building that rapport, establishing trust. I mean, think about it. These buyers, they're inundated with information online, reviews, comparisons. What they really crave is that human connection.
Someone who gets it.
Yeah.
Someone who understands what's important to them. Which brings us back to that whole mechanical knowledge piece. Earlier, you mentioned a seller who'd started in the service department. Did RoleCatcher give any other examples of that kind of background translating into sales success?
Yeah, they did. They had a case study about a seller specializing in vintage cars. And this seller, they didn't just know the models, they could talk about the restoration process in detail, the nuances of different engines, even the history behind certain design features.
Wow, so it was like a history lesson and a sales pitch all rolled into one.
It's like they were selling a story, not just a car.
And that passion, that deep understanding, I imagine that's infectious.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes that, how it elevates the whole customer experience, and how that translates to customer loyalty, repeat business, even referrals. People trust those who truly know their stuff.
Makes you wonder, though, because the auto industry is constantly evolving. I mean, new models, new technologies, it's a lot to keep up with. So how does RoleCatcher suggest these sellers stay ahead of the curve? Are we talking like car magazines, industry blogs?
They go a bit beyond that, actually. Sure, staying informed about the latest models, the new tech, that's important. But they highlight the value of attending industry events, conferences, even pursuing certifications.
Certifications, interesting. Are we talking like actual degrees or more specialized training programs?
Could be both. Some sellers might pursue a formal education in automotive technology or even sales management. But others might opt for certifications that are specific to certain brands, certain technologies, like electric vehicles are a hot topic right now, so is all the advanced driver assistance technology.
Right, so it's about investing in your knowledge base, becoming a true expert in your field. And I bet that helps with career advancement too, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of career paths, RoleCatcher outlines a pretty clear progression within this field, starting with entry level and moving all the way up to management. They even offer some salary insights, which I know you're interested in.
Always. But before we jump into the numbers, let's break down that career ladder a bit. Where does someone even begin in this world? And what does that upward trajectory look like? So we're picturing this career ladder, right? Where does someone even get their start in this world?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, it usually starts with an entry-level seller position.
Okay, makes sense. Entry level. So you're not expected to be selling a Bugatti on day one.
Probably not. It's more about learning the ropes, understanding the products, mastering those customer interactions. That's key.
Getting your feet wet.
Right. RoleCatcher emphasizes that it's not about being a know-it-all right away. It's about showing a willingness to learn, having a genuine passion for the industry. Those things shine through.
So you're soaking up everything like a sponge.
Exactly. They actually highlight the importance of mentorship during this entry-level stage.
Oh, so you'd be paired up with someone more experienced.
Usually, yeah. Someone who can guide you, show you the ropes, provide feedback, that sort of thing.
That's invaluable, especially in a sales environment. So you're learning from the best, getting some real-world experience. What happens once you've, mastered the basics?
That's when you might transition into a junior seller role.
Okay, junior seller. So more responsibility.
Exactly. You start taking on more, building those client relationships, maybe even handling some of the negotiations.
RoleCatcher mentioned personalized recommendations earlier. I bet that comes into play here, right?
100%. As a junior seller, you're not just matching a customer to a car based on their budget. You're digging deeper.
Really getting to know what makes them tick.
Yes. Their lifestyle, their needs, their aspirations. What are they looking for in a vehicle? Maybe they want a car that screams adventure, or maybe they need something family-friendly with all the latest safety features. It's about finding that perfect fit.
Matchmaker, but with cars.
There you go.
Now, what about those who have their sights set on, leadership? Can you climb the ranks to become a manager in this world?
Definitely. RoleCatcher actually outlines the path to becoming a motor vehicles specialized selling manager. And they emphasize it's not just about being a top salesperson.
There's more to it than just closing deals.
Right. It requires strong leadership qualities, strategic thinking, a deep understanding of the market you're leading a team now.
So what does that look like day to day? What kind of things does a manager in this field handle?
It's a pretty multifaceted role. You're setting sales targets, obviously, but also developing strategies to hit those targets, mentoring your team of sellers, analyzing market trends. It can be pretty demanding.
And I imagine you're working closely with other departments too, right? Like finance, service, making sure the whole customer experience is seamless.
All of that. It's a big job.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
But also potentially incredibly rewarding. I mean, you're shaping a team, influencing the direction of a dealership, impacting the customer experience on a larger scale.
Absolutely. And of course, with those increased responsibilities comes, you guessed it, higher earning potential.
Okay, let's talk numbers then. I know we can't get into specifics, but what kind of salary insights does RoleCatcher provide for someone considering this path?
They offer salary ranges, which of course vary based on experience, location, the specific dealership, and importantly, performance. But they emphasize that motor vehicles specialized sellers can earn a competitive base salary plus commission.
So that earning potential is tied to your sales success, which I imagine is a big motivator for a lot of people in this field.
It definitely is. But, it's not for everyone. It takes a certain drive, a resilience to thrive in that kind of environment.
That high-risk, high-reward scenario we talked about earlier. But let's say you're up for the challenge. You're ready to dive headfirst into this world. What does RoleCatcher recommend when it comes to actually landing that dream job? Because we all know the job market can be tough.
They have a whole section on their platform dedicated to acing the interview. And they don't mess around with those typical generic questions. They provide 10 specific interview questions that are tailored to this niche market. They really want to see if you've done your homework.
So hit me with a couple of these curveballs they throw. What kind of scenarios should someone be prepared to talk about?
One example is dealing with difficult customers. Like, imagine a potential buyer walks in with totally unrealistic expectations, or they're just being confrontational. How would you handle that? How would you de-escalate the situation while still providing top-notch customer service?
It takes finesse. That's a tough one. Did they throw any other tough ones at you?
They also emphasize the need to stay ahead of industry trends. So, for example, how would you approach a customer who's on the fence about electric vehicles?
That's a big one right now. A lot of people are still hesitant about making that switch.
For sure. So you'd need to address their concerns, highlight the benefits, maybe even debunk some of those common misconceptions. It's a conversation.
You're selling them on the future of driving.
Exactly. RoleCatcher really wants to see that you're adaptable, knowledgeable, passionate. Those are the qualities that make a successful motor vehicles specialized seller.
Now, they also seem to be big proponents of, using technology to your advantage. They mentioned a CV analysis tool. What's that all about?
Right. They're pretty excited about this tool. It uses AI to analyze your resume, making sure it highlights those skills and experiences that employers really value in this specific field.
So it's like giving yourself that extra edge, especially in a competitive job market.
Exactly. And you're not just submitting a generic resume, you're tailoring it to the specific job description, showcasing why you're the perfect fit.
So to wrap things up, what would you say is that key takeaway for someone listening who's thinking, hey, maybe this motor vehicle specialized selling thing is for me?
I think RoleCatcher says it best. This is a career tailor-made for those who thrive on continuous learning, on building relationships, on being a part of a dynamic, always evolving industry.
It's challenging, but it's also got those big rewards, not just financially, but personally too. You're indulging your passion for cars. You're guiding people through this major purchase. You're sharing your expertise. It's pretty cool.
And for those who are up for the challenge, who are ready to buckle up and hit the gas, RoleCatcher provides those resources you need to succeed.
There you go, the roadmap to navigate this exciting career path. So, you ready to take the wheel?